Checks ICSE. This is Sweta, your English master teacher at Vedantu, and today we are going to have a discussion on an angel in disguise. This is a beautiful story. I hope you have already seen the Umang series related to this particular story. Okay? So we will be dealing with the 3 marks and the 4 marks questions in today's session. We are almost coming to the end, so only 2 more sessions to go, and then our literature part will be over. Right, Little Match Girl and the Greatest Olympic Prize. 27th Feb is when you will have the last sprint text session for English. Okay? Physics and math is going to end on 27th, along with English, bio, SST and chemistry is going to continue till 27th of Feb. So before starting off with the session, guys, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you do not miss out on any important notification. Share the video amongst your friends. Okay? So guys, this is a beautiful quote which is very much relevant to the chapter that we are going to deal with. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Right? So even if you even if you have a very small act of kindness, that is also very, very, very precious and useful. Right? So don't hesitate to be kind and don't hesitate to have compassion. Don't think it is a small act. How fruitful will it be? You take the first step. Okay, definitely it is going to lead to a larger, whatever it is. It's not going to be wasted. Okay, it's going to be fruitful. Take a larger change. It is going to definitely lead to a small act, may lead to a larger one, right? So that is something which is very important, guys, and we will see an act of compassion, an act of kindness in this particular story as well. Before starting the story, guys, if you haven't been able to frame the answer for the previous one, guys, you can take the help from this particular model answer. I'm sure you would be able to frame your own beautiful answers. And thank you so much for those who have already commented in the comment section. Keep commenting, guys. Okay, and this is the very first extract that we are going to see for today's session. This woman had been despised, scoffed at, and angrily denounced by by nearly every man, woman, and children, etc., etc. So this is the very beginning of the story, and it continues till 2 years before a fall from a window had injured her spine. So this is talking about the girl who was not able to move, right? So Maggie, okay, the youngest one. And let us see the very first question pertinent to this. What kind of relations did the old woman have with the other villagers? Very easy. This is the this is talking about alcohol abuse. Alcohol abuse, okay? So please mention about alcohol abuse. Mention about the fact that the author was writing this story at a time when there had been a movement against this. So he was an American author, right? T.S. Arthur. So he was writing at a time when there was a movement against this alcohol abuse in America. So please mention these 2 points. This would make your answer a bit different. The answer which I'm going to show you, everybody is going to write the same thing. But if you write this, these 2 points would be highlighted, that alcohol abuse is shown, the effect of alcohol abuse is shown, right? And, and he was writing at a time when there was a movement. So you would see that, the examiner would understand that you have a deeper knowledge about this chapter. You have a little bit of background information as well. So please collect this information from Umang series or any other video lecture that has been uploaded in this particular channel and in the channel, right? So please, guys, look into that. So let's have a look at the answer. Otherwise, the people hated the dead woman while she was alive because she devoted herself not to hard work but to idleness. Despite having 3 children to look after, the woman spent her days drinking alcohol. So here we come to here we come we encounter the issue of alcohol abuse, right? Troubling people around. Therefore, she was often scoffed at, despised. Okay, scoffed at is scorned. You can also use the word despised by people. Okay, people looked at her with scorn. Scorn is, contempt. Okay, So contempt, right? And denounced by people. People hated her because she did not work hard. Of course, how would she work hard if she is so alcoholic? She would not have the strength, right? So she had managed to stay in an old tumble down hut. So please mention about alcoholism as well, which is an important theme throughout the topic, important issue throughout the chapter. Next is what is to be done with the children? That was the chief question now, etc., etc. But the children must not be left to starve. Let's see what's the question related to this particular passage. What was the fate of the children after the death of their mother? So they had a very, very, very bleak future lying ahead. Okay, with no one to care for them. However, they were adopted and all that we will see right now. Okay, but please mention about the bleak future. Just after the death, what was the prospect we could see? It's a bleak future because they had lost their only support, that is their mother, right? So they were, yes, they were orphaned. Mention this as well. Okay, these 2 points also. So after the mother's death, the chief question was what is to be done with the children. Okay, the dead mother would be buried soon and she would be free from all the care and concern of her village, but the children would starve. Okay, they had no one to take care of them. After considering the matter and discussing with his wife, Farmer Jones decided to take John with him. Mr. Elise, she was, trying to look for a bound girl and did charity on her part by making a choice of Katie, although she was too young to be useful. Okay, so only Maggie was left alone. So these children, the two of them were adopted, but Maggie was. So this, John would be helpful in the field work. That is farmer, for the farmer, right? Farmer. Okay, and Katie would be useful as a servant. Okay, but of course she had to be grouped, right? But Maggie was not at all useful for anything because she was bedridden, hence not useful, and hence was left alone. Okay, moving ahead. But no one said, I'll take care of Maggie. Pitying glances were cast on her worn and wasted form, and thoughts were troubled on her account. So, although they took pity on that poor little girl, okay, worn and wasted form, waning is, uh, what to say, waxing, and I mean, waning is declining, okay. So, who wanted a bedridden girl? The only reason was because of her being bedridden. Now, why was nobody willing to take Maggie's responsibility? Very simple, because Maggie was that. First of all, you have to say that she was the youngest child, right? 2 years ago, she had fallen from a window and injured her spine and was thus bedridden, right? So, since she had not been able to leave her bed except when she lifted the arms of her mother, so she had been, she could not walk, she could not do anything on her own, right? So she was crippled for her life. So nobody would be able to take care of her. Nobody would, why would anybody would take her responsibility? She would be a burden, right? So definitely she would be a burden for anybody. Her innocent looks attracted everyone, but nobody was ready to take care of her, which exposed, okay, the real face of the society. So here the author is exposing the real face of the society. You can say real. He's showing a mirror to the society. Okay, so everyone was definitely having pity, but no one could muster up the courage. Okay, they were feeling, they were having a sense of pity, but they were not having a sense of courage to take responsibility. They were not having empathy. They were not thinking of the child, what would happen to the child, right? What would happen, to this child who is not only bedridden but also has lost her mother. So what a pitiful condition she was in, and how fate had played, how fate had been very cruel to her. Okay, so no one was thinking about that. Okay, neither they were trying to, no empathy. So no empathy on the cruel fate of the child. Okay. Okay, so moving ahead with the next question, Jane said Jane said, Jane said the wheel right with an impressiveness of tone that greatly subdued his wife, etc., etc. And Mr. Thompson did not answer, but a soft feeling crept into her heart. Okay, so this is when uh, Maggie was adopted, okay, by Mr. Thompson. So, what did Joe Thompson quote from the Bible? Very, very important. This is how he convinced his wife by quoting the Bible, right? So he is describing in this story. The author is describing about selfless efforts, which brings content to oneself. So if you do something selflessly, okay, if you do an act of kindness is never wasted. That is how I began the session, right? So if you do an act of kindness, you will feel yourself, very contented. Okay, you'll feel satisfied. It's a strange kind of feeling that you'll have. Good feeling, positive feeling, right? So when Maggie was left alone, Joe Thompson did not leave her and took her to her own house. He knew his wife would never, so he could not leave her. He could not leave her in that pitiful condition. Yeah, his humanity did not allow him to leave her in that pitiful condition. He knew his wife would not approve of his decision. Mr. and Mrs. Joe was they were childless, and they had years of loneliness. And Thompson was definitely very ill-tempered because of her barrenness that she had. She had become very ill-tempered, and she had become of a irritable nature, right? So she showed her disdain and darted a sharp question towards her husband. So she had become very rough, okay, because of lack of softness in her life, softness of love of a child in her life, right? So then he refers to the Bible to quote, to soften her heart and say, and says that he had read in the Bible and found that much is said about little children, and how the Savior rebuked the disciples who would not receive them, and how he took them in his arms and blessed them, and how he said that whosoever give them even a cup of cold water would not go unrewarded, which means an act of kindness, however small it is, never goes unrewarded. All right. So, an act of kindness, however small it is, never goes unrewarded. Okay. So, he wants his wife to be kind, and not wants exactly, he convinces his wife. Okay, convinces his wife to be kind and to be caring towards Maggie, to that little child. And this is how he kind of convinced, and slowly a kind of softness crept into the barren heart of the childless mother, right? So you can also mention all this. Moving ahead, next is, what light and blessing did that sick and helpless child bring to the home of Joe Thompson, the poor wheelwright? And it continues, till an angel had come into his house, disguised as a sick, helpless, and miserable child, and filled all its dreary chambers with the sunshine of love. How beautiful, right? The question is, how did life blossom for Joe and Jane Thompson? So after the death of, you have to basically narrate the entire story of how, after the death of her poor mother, after the death of the old woman, nobody was ready to take the responsibility of Maggie because of her being bedridden, crippled, right? So he sympathized with her, and felt it forbidding leaving her alone. Okay, his wife was very bitter and angry initially, and then after listening to the quote of the Bible, okay, she eventually also developed a bond of affection with Maggie and suggested to delay sending her to the poorhouse. Right, so Mr. and Mrs. Thompson finally never sent her to the poorhouse and took care and was loving the little child as their own child. And Maggie also proved to be an angel in disguise. Mrs. Thompson understood the true meaning of compassion, and that was only possible because of the kind of love that Maggie showed. Okay, an angel had come to his house as a sick, helpless child in the disguise of a sick and helpless child and filled all their dreary chambers, okay, loveless, life, okay, with the sunshine of love, right? So the writer tries to convey that not only does Maggie take the care of the of another to survive, but Mrs. Thompson also had extended to love, okay, had to extend her love and care to live a happy and purposeful life. They lived a contented, blossomed life, and therefore the writer exclaimed that they drank the precious wine of life every day. It's a beautiful image, right? The precious wine of life every day. That means they enjoyed every day. Every day was very, very meaningful and very lovable for them. And it was only possible because of the kind of love, the compassion that, okay, it was possible because of the love that Maggie also showed. And she became an angel in disguise, filling up the, dark chambers of loveless, childless, and barren life of Mrs. Joe Thompson with love, with happiness, right? So that is beautiful, and this is the answer. So I hope, guys, you're enjoying the session. If you want to join us further, okay, you can gain 100% knowledge and 100% marks. You can have unlimited live classes with fun and high level quizzes. You can compete with the students throughout the world. You can have interactive replays. So even the replays are going to be very interactive along with the leaderboards. Okay, so replays will also have quiz questions and the leaderboard. So that is going to be something superb, guys. You can also download the notes at the end of the session. At the end of each session, along with the notes, you will also have the assignments. If you solve those assignments, you will definitely be able to understand how much have you grasped the content. Tests, okay, what level are you in, that will be understood with the help of the tests that we conduct, and we also give you the performance report. So that is very, very essential, guys. Without quality test, you will not be able to revise the entire chapter, and then you'll not face confidence, right? Along with that, we have 5,000 plus micro courses and crash courses, so chapter wise courses, guys. So let's say you face any difficulty in any particular chapter, so that chapter's micro course you can definitely get into, and you can definitely clear all your doubts from that particular chapter. Along with that, you have free crash courses. Various crash courses have been recently launched, guys. You can take the help of those crash courses. They are going to be very, very helpful for all of you. These are free with the subscription. You do not need to pay any extra amount, that too in less price. So you just need to click on the link in the description box and use the coupon code SWREPRO. So guys, we are with you till the end, and this is the 50% discount that we are offering you, and this has been extended. It's not just till 14th of Feb. This offer has been extended. So that's the good news, guys. So please quickly avail the offer at priority. Okay, so you can see what is the price. It's per class price only 3.3. That is nothing, guys. Very, very affordable. So you just need to visit the link and use the coupon code SWREPRO. And now we will be going through the last two questions. Describe Jane's change in behavior, which is also quite similar to the previous one. So first of all, definitely you have to talk about the previous behavior and the recent behavior, right? And draw a contrast. So she was childless, right? So she was neither a woman of saintly temper nor was much given to by her to the self denial for others' good. That means she was bitter by nature also. Okay, so she was kind of okay. She was 1 second. She was not a very a woman of having saintly temper. That means she was not very calm and composed. Okay, and right. She was well aware of his wife's, Joe was well aware of his wife's bitter nature, right? So why was she so bitter? Because of her being childless and absence of love of a child, absence of that softness. Okay, she had not experienced motherhood. So that softness was kind of lacking in her, right? And he had well grounded doubts touching the manner of greeting that he would receive when he would be bringing home Maggie. He was very, very, very confirmed. He was very certain. She was bereft of motherly feelings. As I told you, she did not have that motherly touch because she did not have a child. She was barren. Okay, they were childless, right? But Maggie's innocent looks evoked tender feelings. So Maggie turned out to be, source of change for that bitter, ill-tempered, rough lady. The love of the child changed her. The sweetness of the sick child, looking ever to her in love, patience, gratitude, that brought a change in Mrs. Thompson. So the bond of, you know, mother-child bond, loving bond. That was something which brought a change. And Mrs. Thompson, and she wholeheartedly accepted Maggie as a child. The sweetness of the sick child was like honey to her soul. All right, guys. So this is something which is super, super, super important. And the last question is, why did Joe Thompson not see the guardians of the poor ever? Which is also very similar. Okay. So author T.S. Arthur has justified the miraculous effect that a child's presence has on a woman's character. Yes, this is a very, very, very important line which you can add in most of your answers. Okay. So the miraculous effect. So why was she an angel in disguise? Because she had that miraculous power to change the life of that rough, ill-tempered lady who was not of a saintly temper. Okay. While Joe is out at work, his wife spent, when Joe was out at work, his wife had spent the day with Maggie and develops, okay, so this is in past tense, okay, sorry, so present tense, and develops a feeling of compassion. So they developed this bond, okay, the bond was developed. She ends up keeping Maggie, um, who becomes a blessing for both of them. She suggested keeping her for a couple of days more because she's very weak and needed to be taken care of. So Joe agreed and did not see the guardian for the guardian means guardian of the poor house. So she never had to go to the poor house, right? They never met them at all because now who was taking care? Who became the guardian? It was the parents who became. I mean, it was Mr. and Mrs. Thompson who became parents for for Maggie, little Maggie. Okay? They both had developed affection towards her, and then how had Maggie changed their lives? She, before her coming, their life was childless. She was the mother was, I mean, Mrs. Thompson was very rough, okay, irritable and ill-tempered, but that little child had brought love and care with her. Her sweetness made a very, very, very positive change and lightened up their chambers with love, right? And their lives blossomed in the presence of the little child. And they carried her like a precious burden. Very, very, very important is this precious burden. Okay, although definitely she was burdened, because of that she was so this is a very contrasting, right? Precious and burden, right? So definitely she was considered burdened by the other villagers, and therefore they did not take her, did not adopt her. But and initially Mrs. Thompson also regarded her as a burden, but then she became a precious burden. So she became elevated, right? Because she was responsible for the developing of the feelings of motherhood, of care, of compassion, of kindness. That is something which is very beautiful. Okay, guys, so yes, we have the 3 and the 4 marks questions and attempt a character sketch of Maggie. This is something that you will have to attempt in your homework as your homework question. So the next session is going to be on the Little Match Girl. Do not miss it, guys. And thank you so much. Please do hit the like button, share the video amongst your friends. Don't forget to visit the link in the description box and use the coupon code SWREPRO. So like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Also, hit the bell icon so that you do not miss out on any important notification. Bye bye, guys. Do not miss out the next session. Take care. Thank you.